Hey, Billy Porter here. Been a YouTube and Facebook media buyer for about 5 years now. YouTube for about three and a half. So originally it was Facebook was my speciality, but it switched over to be YouTube, especially in the last couple of years. And in my role as a strategist now, obviously, I'm way more involved with CRO and the other steps of the funnel, but I still buy ads every day. So just wanted to share some things that I've learned along the way as kind of some bite-sized things and stuff to avoid. So number one thing that I think people get wrong and that has kind of unlocked things for me as far as media buying and even some of the CRO stuff too is just cleaning up my thinking and just understanding where my biases lie when I'm giving things too long within the account. So I've always looked at media buying just as capital investment. So a lot of the books I've read on mindset, etc., have been trading books. There's an awesome book called Trading in the Zone that I've read, which was a fantastic book and helped me a lot with media buying, even though it's nothing to do with media buying whatsoever. So, yeah, ultimately, media buying is just removing the bottleneck. So, the more that you can cut through the data and your own perception of looking at things, there's one of my favorite phrases, which is every problem looks like a nail when you've only got a hammer. So, obviously part of that is that you need to expand your skill set and be able to look at problems from different angles. But ultimately, you're trying to remove the bottleneck. So sometimes the bottleneck is going to be in the account. Sometimes it's going to be that the ads aren't good enough and they need to be improved. It's going to be that the ads don't line up with the VSL, so there's a congruency problem. Those need to be fixed. There's not enough audience testing going on. If we can reduce CPMS and find some pockets of audiences that are doing better for us, or reduce CPM by going more broad, then we can get some benefits there. So there's going to be stuff in the account, but there's also going to be landing page optimizations, VSL optimizations, short rate optimizations, and then obviously the stuff that I talked about, which is a bit more intangible, but just congruency and making sure everything from the ad that they're seeing to the landing page to the VSL to what's being said on the phone call all lines up and has the same messaging. So again, just to go over that, so understanding your cognitive biases, and again, understanding where your ego comes into it, understanding where you're just looking for confirmation of stuff. If you've written ads, you want them to work and you'll let them run for longer than they should, different things like that. And again, media buying is just remove bottlenecks. So the more that you can operate off of data, more than emotion. That said, one of my other favorite quotes is from Nietzsche, which is that there's no facts, only interpretation. So everybody's going to interpret the data in a different way. But the more you can look at things objectively, the better off you'll be. Two great books on this, and whether you're a media buyer or just a business owner, I recommend that you read these anyway. The first one's Seeking Wisdom by Peter Bevelin, which is all about mainly, I mean, the tagline is Seeking Wisdom from Charles Darwin to Charlie Munger. There's a lot of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger quotes and evidence in there from them. Lots about probabilities, lots about data analysis, lots of just awesome stuff in that book. So I think it's out of print, so you might have to pay 30, 40, $50 to get it, but it's definitely worth it. It's the best book I've ever read. And then the next one is The Great Mental Models as well, which I think is by Farnham Books. And again, it's another great book just on mental models and just cleaning up your thinking. So other than the skill set stuff, this is the number one thing that is going to help you improve your media buying or even understand how your media buying is working and media buyer is working and improve them overall. So first practical tips. Great media buyers understand how the whole process works together. They don't just focus on stuff in the account. I've seen so many media buyers. It's one of the biggest problems that I've seen. That people just get trapped in the account. They're constantly testing creative, constantly testing audiences, thinking that they're going to turn the account around and half the CPA, which just isn't going to happen based on just what's in the account. So if you have a vetting process, I get them to look at the whole funnel, ask them what advice they give on the whole funnel to optimize things, or give them a specific example where you know that there's a particular bottleneck, and just show them the data and then find out which way they go down. And if they're able to look at the stuff outside of just the ad metrics, I think that'd be a big thing. Again, following on from that point, you're only going to see, in my experience, and obviously this is massive generalization and isn't going to be true in all cases, but a good rule of thumb is just that, like, you're going to see like a 10-20% bump from media buying activities if you dial in your ads, dial in your audiences, but you're not going to half your CPA by doing that. So if you're in a case where your ROAS is 1x and you're trying to get to 2x, you're going to need to do more than just stuff in the account most of the time to get yourself out of that hole and get to the ROAS that you want to get to. So important to understand, you can't just do massive changes in the account. Big changes require big changes in results require big changes to the funnel. So you're not going to see 100% bump in ROAS from just changing your landing page headline, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be bigger moves that you need to make. Another thing, again, this is I apologize for the last couple of points being a little bit intangible, but congruency is something that I've seen have a huge, huge impact on funnel conversion rates. And if you can line up the copy in your ad, the video ad, especially on YouTube, the landing page, the VSL, and then obviously what's being said on the sales call and the offer that's being made, is going to see you're going to see a huge difference to your conversion rate. So I'd really make sure that you analyze what's going on every stage of the process, and that the messaging that they're seeing lines up and promises them the same thing. So I think that's big. And then last things is just going through some benchmarks here. So this is kind of where some of the stuff comes from as far as identifying the bottlenecks. I know where we need to be. Obviously, the situation changes. These are very, very general. Like I said, there's far more nuance than I can possibly cover in this video. But if you have any questions, just give me a shout. So yeah, CTR, I'm always aiming for it to be above 1%. Really, 2% is the benchmark for ad that I'm really, really happy with, and one that I think is doing phenomenally well. Same with view rate. If we can get it a 2% view rate of 2% CTR and a view rate of 20%, we know that it's a killer ad that we're going to be able to scale. Cost per click, this can really differ depending on the niche and obviously how much, specifically for YouTube, how much search volume there is for those keywords and what audiences you're targeting. Because obviously CPM is going to have a big impact on CPC. So yeah, but between $1 and $2, you're normally in a good area. Anything up to 3 is probably pretty good. And when you start getting above that, you run into a few more issues, and obviously your funnel needs to be more efficient. But yeah, that's typically where we're at. CPL, again, most of the time just want it to be below $10. Obviously, there's situations where it can be $20 and it still be successful. So it's not a determining factor of success. Really, ROAS and sales is the number one goal, but just obviously descending down the funnel, we give things a lower level of impact. And then obviously cost per book call really needs to be below 200. Obviously, I've seen fitness offers where really the cost per call needs to be between $80 and $100 for it to make sense, because it's more mass market, potentially a bit lower ticket, even though it's still a call funnel. And then there's other situations where you can tolerate a higher cost per call, like even in the real estate niche. I've seen offers, even there's one at the moment where the cost per call is $350, $400, and we're still seeing a great ROAS. So again, just accept that there's nuance here. I don't want to speak in absolutes, and then you come back to me and say that's really wrong. So yeah, and then for B2B, obviously things are going to be higher. CTR and view rate, I still put them around the same. Again, with CTR, you could probably tolerate it being a little bit lower, as long as the right people are clicking your ad. CPC is obviously going to be a bit higher, again, because of the fact that the CPM is higher and you're normally going after a much smaller pool of people. CPL is going to be much higher, really between $25 and $50 in most cases I've seen. And then again, the cost per book call is going to be a bit higher, but as long as you can try and get within that range, you'll be in a good spot. So I'm running ads for the agency that I do some work for, and we've seen their cost per call be about $250 to $350, and that's obviously B2B for clients, which is great. So I feel like we do have a good, pretty dialed in funnel, and then obviously I'm confident in the media buying that we've been doing, that we're getting good results there. So obviously not all of those are quality, so that's why we try and get the cost per book call as low as we can, but obviously still keep the quality high. So yeah, hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.